This is going so well. I was so anxious all day. Oh my god. And it's not good, me being anxious right now. I'm in like the final parts of like a mental health team transition. I had to fire my psychiatrist. At one point he asked me why I thought I was so anxious, and I said, I don't know. And he proceeded to reach into his desk drawer, pull out my next prescription of ADHD medication, shake it, a lot like that, say these guys, and throw it in the trash. And if you're ever wondering, like, am I at the good psychiatrist office and they're using controlled substances as props? You're not. Well, any props, really. The word you use to describe your psychiatrist should never be theatrical. Like, I'm all for everyone in here getting the help they need, but if your mental health professional mentions that they initially applied to Tish, get a new one. Yeah, but it's good that I have a new team around me. I got a lot of things in my life that are making me anxious. My parents are getting a divorce. They're separating, kind of. They have two houses, and they both live in one of those houses, but only sometimes, and I just wish I knew what was going on. I'm told so much that we grow up and become our parents. My parents are very much shrinking down and becoming me. You know? Like, I asked them the status of their relationship, and they talk to me like they're a bunch of college kids. You know, they're like, hey man, we're just hooking up and having fun. You can't do that when you have a mortgage together. You know? I'm all for the whole you're as young as you feel thing, but once the dog that you got as a couple together dies, you should approach your relationship with more intentionality. It's got me a little anxious, but I've always been an anxious person. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. I grew up a really anxious kid down there. I used to think that things were like my fault, even if they weren't necessarily like, okay. I was not invited to Victor Hardy's 8th birthday, right? I wanted that invite, I did not get that invite. I was so mad when that happened that I went home that night and I prayed to God that it would rain and ruin Victor's party, and then on the morning of Victor's 8th birthday, the levees broke during Hurricane Katrina. People point to Katrina as a sign that God does not exist. Unfortunately for me, it's the only example I have that he might. I'm trying to be better about the environment, not, bringing in and willing hurricanes into existence, recycling. I'm really trying to be better about all of that because I didn't recycle growing up, and I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to like stay committed to environmentalism right now, like especially when NASCAR exists, a competition that boils down to who can burn the most fossil fuels the quickest. I don't know, there's just something about watching a bunch of grown men go through 6,000 gallons of gasoline every weekend that makes me think that composting isn't as effective as it's marketed. Yeah, I don't know. Will we solve the climate crisis? Who can be sure? Yeah, that's sad. Maybe my sister will fix it. She's about to graduate college, and that's very exciting. Yeah, let's give it up for Lily Schaefer. A bunch of relatives are coming to me now, though, that she's graduating, and they're like, well, you went to college. What was your big takeaway from school? And they're looking for an academic answer, and I know that. But my issue is that my one takeaway from college was that the sole barrier to me developing a severe nicotine addiction was just whether or not it tasted like mango. Like, if Big Pharma ever makes a pina colada flavored opiate, I am fucked. I'm getting into a habit now that it's as destructive as nicotine was to me, and I gotta quit it. And that habit is scented candles. Oh my God. What a horrible thing to get into as an adult with no money. Scented candles are for people that want to light $30 on fire in the lamest way possible. They're so needlessly bad for my wallet, I'm convinced that the CIA invented them as a means to suppress the mentally ill in its country. And a lot of people are like, come on, Sam, you can't be hooked on scented candles. Really try to get me to stop. It will be the same conversation my friends had with me in college when they needed me to quit, okay? I'm going to sit down, I'm going to say it's harmless, it's not as bad as it seems, and you'll accept that, but then your clothes will smell like my apartment for the next week. The only difference between scented candles and cigarettes is that no one at that party last weekend suddenly thought I was cool when I rolled up with that kumquat and mint tri-wick, I told my therapist, that my little scented candle habit, and she was like, actually, no, your anxiety is so sensory-based that you should get more into scented candles to cope. Jesus Christ. Explaining to someone that you need a scented candle is the most humiliatingly dramatic experience on this planet. You're just in anthropology with a friend, you're like, I can't afford this, but I'm gonna get it. Your friend's like, don't. No, I have to. Why? What? Because if my room doesn't smell like citrus, I will kill myself. Right, I'm Sam Schaefer.